There's a lot of excellent things they did with the Craig-era Bond films, but the longer time passes since their release, the Craig-era Bond films, their legacy to me seems to be what not to do with James Bond, or realizing that doing things this way in James Bond is going way too far. That's what the legacy of the Craig-era films seemed to become. I personally loved Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. To me, I feel like he's one of the best James Bonds, and I feel like his era now feels like the last era of the original character, his era of Bond. So now Brosnan's Bond films feel like the final time you'll be able to see the original version of the character of James Bond. And now it makes me feel like, well, I guess we didn't know how good we had it when we had it with Brosnan as Bond. Because at the time in the 1990s, it just felt like business as usual. Let's make great Bond films like how we've always done. We have a new actor. We can do some new changes, but it's still going to mostly be the same. The same great stuff that the fans have always loved since Bond's first creation. And I don't think that they were overbearingly traditional. They were traditional, but they still did new ideas in Brosnan's era that were really interesting and were good. But it never deviated from what the character's essence was, or the world that he exists in. The Craig era doesn't feel like that, though. The perfect example to explain where I'm coming from comes from an excellent scene in Die Another Day, the hotel scene with Pierce Brosnan. This scene just exemplifies my point, times 10. All you need to do is compare what happens in this one scene in the hotel room, this very short scene in the hotel room in Die Another Day, to what the big problem is with Craig's Bond era of films. So, a little backstory, but I won't go rambling on about it because it's not extremely important. But James Bond, at the beginning of Die Another Day, he goes in a prison and he's there for a long time. And of course, being in jail, that can fuck you up and all this stuff. He breaks out of jail eventually, and there's all this drama, of course, of him being there because the CIA or whatever kind of betrayed him and never rescued him, but whatever. So he swims in the ocean and finds a boat where there's a hotel. He walks in there, he's got a beard, shaggy hair, raggedy clothes, and he talks to the manager and these two guys, and they set him up in a hotel room. Then we see his hotel room. It looks extremely nice. He's got two brand new shirts, wine. The room looks very nice. It's a polar opposite of the jail cell he was in for such a long time. Everything is pristine and lovely. He's got new shirts, right? So now he feels confident still, and he's shaving in the mirror. And this whole moment right here is really what I'm going to dig into right now. He just shaved his face, took a shower, fixed his hair, and he's now shaved his entire beard, and now he looks like a crisp $1 bill. He looks like $1 million now. And he's looking in the mirror, and he's fine. He doesn't have this trauma from being in jail for all that time. He didn't let the experience of him rotting in jail for so long, being betrayed. He didn't let that destroy his life. He didn't mourn on it. He's ready to go again. He's moving on. This is a powerful, inspirational scene in this film. Not just for men, but for women, for everyone. This is how people should be. Be upset and sad when something bad happens to you in your life, but don't let it cripple your life. Get upset about it for a little bit, but then move on. Move the fuck on. And that's not what Craig did in his era. He was depressed half the time. He was way too lost, not focused all the time. Brosnan's era of Bond, this scene has gotten criticized from some Bond fans. They talk about this scene and they think Bond here is too robotic, that he's way too much like Superman here. Oh, so none of the trauma he got in prison, let's not explore that. Oh, okay, let's just shave and we're moving on. Like that's a bad thing. No, that's good. That's not just exciting and better for the film because it's more fun to make it more an exciting action movie, but it's also inspirational too. This is the character of James Bond. He doesn't let situations that are traumatizing haunt him forever, where he can't do what he does in his profession, in his life. He doesn't let things cripple him, as a character. Not for too long, at least. Like, imagine watching Die Another Day, and he's in the hotel room, and he's all depressed for like an hour in the film, and he's moping around, doesn't take a shower, doesn't shave, doesn't do any of that shit. Do we want to see that? No, we don't want to fucking see that. We want action. We want suspense, adventure. We want to see him stay positive and go on with his mission and to move on with his life. I don't want to watch that kind of movie where the character is like, oh man, my life blows, my life sucks. I'm just going to be sad about it for 5 years and not do anything else with my life. Fuck that. That is not the character of Bond. That's not what we came here to see. The Bond films are exciting, fun action movies with some drama, some suspense, and some romance. They're not a soap opera. This isn't Desperate Housewives with James Bond. No. So that's why I love this one scene in the hotel in Die Another Day. This one fucking scene is the perfect example of what I'm trying to explain of the difference between Brosnan's Bond and Craig's Bond. I mean, this scene alone, the more and longer I think about it, it's one of the most inspirational scenes in any movie I've ever seen. Not just for James Bond fans, but just show the first part of this movie to anyone, even if they're not a James Bond fan. And let that one scene sink in. And talk about it with people. Like, what did you guys think of the hotel scene where he's shaving and he's not allowing the trauma in jail to destroy the rest of his life that he has to live? This is an amazing scene. I mean, just like, it's inspirational. It's a powerful scene that exemplifies what makes the character of Bond great to people. Yes, there's a lot of amazing and great things in the Craig-era Bond films, but that does not excuse the bullshit stuff in them, though. Just because it did a lot of great things, that doesn't mean that they were all great, and that they were all amazing top 5 Bond films. Casino Royale was a great movie. Quantum of Solace was a pretty good movie. It wasn't bad, but, you know, it's one of the least best Bond films, I would say. Then Skyfall, I think, is pretty great. Maybe a little overrated, but pretty great. And then you have Spectre, which I thought was really good. And then No Time to Die, it's excellent, except for the ending. That's how I feel about Craig's era. Brosnan's era, though, I can't stop watching it. I've rewatched his 4 Bond films so many times, and I want more. I want more of that Bond. I think that Brosnan, his run as Bond got cut off way too short. He should have made at least 6 Bond films, something like that. It's just a damn shame. I think Casino Royale is Craig's best Bond film, not just because it's his first Bond film, definitely not. It's because it feels actually more like a traditional Bond film, which is great, but it introduces some new drama elements that we haven't seen in Bond before, but it doesn't go too far with it. It has just the right amount of drama for Bond. That's what makes Casino Royale so great. That's what the sequels to the Craig era failed to capture that Casino Royale had. Anyway, that's my feelings on James Bond, the current state of James Bond. So let me know what you guys think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I somewhere in the middle? Please leave some comments. Please like and subscribe. My name is SuperPat98, and thank you for watching.